Um, Obi-Wan episode 4. I thought I've done this already. This is the breakdown of this episode, as it's one of the most detailed episodes, as because for a long time, we were caught into the Obi-Wan Anakin battle rather than the full drawn out story. And this was the emergence of Obi-Wan coming back to the light of using the Force and becoming more of what he used to be, a protector. He had basically, in order to hide, had fully much cut himself off from the Force. And just using his resources, and has dumbed down, and because of that he has lost his a lot of his power and connection to the Force. He still has the ability, but everything needs training. So Anakin seems to be meditating and connecting with him using the Force as he's reliving all of the torture and the pain he went through. As Anakin, Darth Vader rather, dragging him through the fire. So he kind of has a glimpse of what it was like for him to be on fire and what it was like for Anakin. Now, what I didn't like was the quick heal factor that they had in here for Obi-Wan, but it's only 6 episodes, so a couple of douses in the bantha tank, and he's up and away and ready for action. Now, the bigger problem with that is pretty simple. In the original script, they had the Force sensitive children help healing Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, to the rewrite to correct that, or because it was leaked to the general public, what they decided to do was take another route. And that route led to, let's go ahead and make the changes. Now, she's become less annoying as her roles have been reduced as the story has progressed. Now, Obi-Wan Kenobi being all torn down and battered to bits, and Tala, who has stepped into the role who had no place in the original trilogy, but seems to have found a home here. After Obi-Wan seems to wake up and all the carnage that was left behind on this mining planet from the hands of Vader, you're starting to see all these visions Vader is implanting in his head of the torture. He sees this new face that he saw for the first time put him through so much. Great visual shots, by the way. Now, the girl is missing, and he's going to try to have to retrieve her. Now, Tala, her situation is different. Tala is someone who's already on the inside. She's an insider. So, as you can see, the scars from the incident, but he was already an insider, pretty much. So, as an insider, she was able to gain all that information and still use her clearance to get Obi-Wan on the inside. But my whole problem with this was, where was Vader? He should have been able to sense This is what Obi-Wan was doing. And then we meet Ice Cube's son, who's with this whole crew, as his wife was force sensitive and she was assassinated by the dark side. And the Inquisitors, rather. Tala feels guilty because she was working with them, believing that they were the good side. Then you have the fact of Leia being able to resist being interrogated by the Jedi, former Jedi Inquisitor, third sister. Now, this is where I had another problem. There's no way that little kid would have been able to do that to third sister. And there wouldn't be any question to her force sensitivity. Now, this is going to arise a new problem coming down the road that they are kind of stepping on canon as she tries to forge her mind and it doesn't work. Leia's powerful with the Force, that we know. But can Reva sense who she is? She has a strong sense of ability of reading people through the Force. How else could she know Anakin is Darth Vader, right? I've already explained that in the live stream, but since we'll get to episode 5 in a minute while we're covering this. Obi-Wan is basically able to single-handedly penetrate this entire fortress, as Vader is, I guess, asleep while this is happening and cannot sense that Obi-Wan is on the premises, knowing that they have this girl for bait. You wouldn't think he would get any sleep at this time or what have you. So they got her on the torture chamber. It looked like one that they had for, an earlier version of the one they used on Han Solo. Then you see this room that goes back to the old Rebel series, where it's like a tomb, but not quite. There's a reason they have these force sensitive people there. As the emperors will show you down the road. To find the DNA capabilities, the same reason how they made Snoke. Tala uses her command to get Obi-Wan to come there and do these things. Reva's not going for it. And Obi-Wan pulls off the impossible. Yeah, it was nice to see him do that. Yes, academics is a punk. But Obi-Wan went back to slicing down all the Imperial Knights. Vader arrives. After he learns what happens, he chokes out the Dark Sister. And while he's choking out Third Sister, rather, he realizes she's put a tracker on the ship. And this tracker is going to lead them to where the rebels have been hiding. He does a cool scene here with the water, holding it back, showing his strength with the force is still intact. And he's back strong as he protects her and tries to get her off. Third sister arrives, lets them go. But as I predicted in the last video, as what would happen, she tracked them, as this is a common Star Wars theme, tracking the ship. It was done in episode 4, it was done in episode 5, it was done in Star Wars lore forever. So after he learns third sister has done this, and you see the droid right there, is now possessed by the dark side. So now Vader's very impressed, as now they hunt Kenobi. Now, my reservations for this is going to come to a pass, because the problem is with all this activity, Senator Organa is part of keeping Alderaan and the system under the run of the Galactic Empire. If they're secretly funding the entire rebellion, that could be a major problem. His daughter is missing. And if they found out the Empire took the daughter, that could be a major problem for the Empire. That's too much exposure. It's too dangerous for political control of the galaxy. Other systems would be sympathetic to their plight. So to terminate her would be the answer immediately before all claims start coming back. But what's even bigger in this scenario is the fact that Lord Vader knows this girl is the Senator Organa's child. So if they kidnap the Senator Organa's child, and Obi-Wan is able to come out of hiding out of all these years just to protect this one child, he must have a very powerful tie to Senator Organa. So the fact that Lord Vader wouldn't invade Alderaan to see out about Senator Organa's involvement with helping the rebels, or even interrogate him about the whereabouts of Obi-Wan or that connection, that's, a little bit a far stretch from reality to me that I felt Vader would have done had he sensed Senator Organa's betrayal. Because he was still Senator before Alderaan, even when Alderaan was destroyed. Now, episode 5 is going to be more of an epic chase of cat and mouse as they're bugged and they're headed back to the rebels' base, or the rebellion, where Obi-Wan is learning that hope still exists in the galaxy, where he thought there was none. And the dark side had just won. So that's my episode 4 breakdown. More to come later. Episode 5.